Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Derek Wright, and I'm one of the owners of Houghton Horns. I used to do these live streams all the time. I haven't had the time to do it lately, but I had decided to get back into it, and I wanted to talk to you about the Paxman 20. So this is the Paxman 20. Now, I have done, years ago, I did a review of the Paxman 20 Centenary that had a hand hammered bell, compact valve section. This is not that. This is just the standard Paxman 20M. MYDC. M stands for a medium bell throat. Y stands for yellow brass. D stands for detachable bell. And C stands for cord, so string linkage versus mechanical. This does not have the compact valve section. The compact valve section would be indicated by a small c. So the Paxman 20 MYDC C would be the compact valve section. The Paxman 20 MYDC is the standard one. This horn has been around for decades and is just a very standard horn. So you may be thinking to yourself, I wouldn't call it innovative. It's been around for decades. But although there have been a few attempts to copy the design, the Paxman 20 is still very, very unique. And that stems from its usage of the Meriwether system, which is still printed on the bell brace with the Model 20M, the serial number, and the words Meriwether system on every Paxman 20 or 25. What the Meriwether system does is it makes the air from the F and the B flat sides of the horn go through in the same direction. So instead of one side of the horn going through this way, and the other side of the horn, the air going through this way, the air is going in the same direction on both sides of the instrument. Why is that important? What it does is it leads to smoother slurs. In addition, the Paxman 20 just has this really rich, meaty sound that blends with other instruments. I've seen some people say Paxman horns don't blend, but I really believe that's because for many years, the horns that were imported to America were Paxman 20L models, which have the large bell, and Paxman 20A models, which have the New World bell, which is even larger. Now, there's also the XL bell, and I've heard differing opinions as to whether the A and the XL are the same bell throats. But the Paxman 20L or 25L and the 20A or 25A were the most popular Paxman horns in the country for a long time. And with those big bells, those horns do well to fit in with sections that are using Kine 8D or other similarly large instruments. So a lot of people believe that Paxmans have a big, broad sound, which means that they don't really fit into today's professional landscape where most professionals, not all, but most professionals are using smaller Geyer style horns. But the Paxman 20M, which has always been Paxman's best-selling model worldwide, doesn't fall into that category. It fits in with Geyer-style horns just fine. But I believe that because of that belief that Paxmans have a broad sound, a lot of people try to steer clear of them. Especially a lot of young college students, professionals who have been told by their teachers, hey, you need to get a Geyer-style horn. They see the Paxman 20, which doesn't quite look like a real Geyer. So I have my Metlin double here, which is a very standard Geyer style horn. and here's the Paxman 20. So you can see, even though the change valve is at, if you're holding the horn this way, it is at the bottom of the stack. The rest of the wrap is very different. Because of that difference and because of the perception that Paxmans get a broad sound, they believe that this isn't something that they should get and they should just stick to the normal Geyer. But I believe that causes a lot of people to miss out on a very excellent horn. So I'm going to take a break from talking a little bit because I know that a lot of you watching this want to hear the horn played. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit on this horn. And then I'm going to play a little bit on my Metlin double so that you guys can see a comparison of the sound. Well, you don't see, you hear a comparison of the sound. So you notice, even though the horns did sound different, of course, I'm not saying that, you know, any two models of horn are going to sound exactly the same, but both of these horns would fit the same general sound profile. And the Paxman 20M would have no problem fitting in with any section of Geyer style horns or other smaller horns. And I really feel passionately about this, but that's only because of my own mistake. So it's story time. The horn that I used through most of undergrad, through my entire master's degree, and through most of my doctoral degree, so for many years, was a Paxman 25L. And that was a great horn. Although, to be clear, I believe today the one to buy is the M Bell. But this Paxman 25L was a gorgeous horn. It played well. I remember I bought it used and I drove from Chicago to Tuscaloosa, where the horn was being sold, to try it out and get to play it. And that was the main reason for my trip, even though I have family in Alabama, so that made it easier. It had titanium valves. Which made it a lot lighter than horns with brass valves, although the titanium valves are not an option offered anymore. But when I got to my doctoral degree, I started to have doubts. This wasn't even anything my teacher suggested. This was just, I was seeing all of these professional players playing Geyer style horns. And I just started thinking to myself, well, maybe I really need to buy like a true Geyer style horn. I need to get rid of this Paxman. And I thought that for no reason. And I sold the horn. I bought another horn. And I, now that I'm older, I really regret that decision. Um, I should have held on to that horn. I should not have felt that I needed to change off of my Paxman to a Geyer style horn. So I kind of feel like when some people look away from the Paxman, that they're really passing up on one of the best horns on the market. I just realized I don't actually have my chat up. So let me bring up my chat for a moment so that I can see if anyone has any questions or comments so far. I guess I should mention that any questions or comments are fully welcome. But nothing yet. By the way, since the last time I've done these live streams, I've actually changed mouthpieces. I am currently using the Varus Vermeulen Everest mouthpiece, which I helped develop with Bill Vermeulen. And this project took years and years, years and years, 2 years of back and forth. We took a trip to Lexington, Kentucky together to work with our mouthpiece manufacturer, Peter Pickett. And we had samples made, we sent them, got revised, sent them, revised over and over again until we came out with a mouthpiece that really had a good sound. Now, I've had lots of questions since we've released this mouthpiece of people asking, well, why didn't you make it a 2-piece mouthpiece? Well, number one, a 1-piece mouthpiece is going to be cheaper. And I felt this mouthpiece was so good, I wanted to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. But the other thing is that the rim, I strongly believe the rim really contributes to the not unique sound, but to the sound of this mouthpiece. It has a really warm, rich sound. And the rim is thick. If you're used to like Lasky as being the standard or a Varus VX line, this rim is a lot thicker than that. But I find that the shape of this rim, although thick, doesn't impede articulation or response as other thick rims tend to do. So I feel like the rim is an essential part of the package. So we decided to make it a 1-piece. But I'll likely do a live stream separately on that later on as well. So we have Christina Mariano, a frequent customer of ours. Hello. I love my Paxman 25A. Best horn ever. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. That is a great comment. It really is. I believe the Paxman horns are some of the best horns ever made. And are titanium rotors better than traditional rotors? Depends on what you mean by better. Actually, I would just say, yeah, I think titanium rotors are better because they're lighter. They're much harder to machine, and they became cost prohibitive to continue to manufacture. So that's why titanium rotors are not offered as an option anymore. There are also some other maintenance headaches. They're much harder to wear, so they don't really need a rebuilding as quickly as other valves. But the rotor casings themselves can still get worn down because the rotor casings aren't made of titanium. And the titanium rotors themselves, if you do use them enough till they get loose, they can't really be rebuilt. Brass rotors, when someone takes our horn into our repair shop to have the valves rebuilt, what ends up happening is we take the brass rotors, we plate them in copper, and then we plate them in nickel. And then we lap them back into the rotor casings. And that creates a nice tight fit, once again, which accounts for the wear in the rotor and the casing itself. But with a titanium rotor, you can't really do anything about that. So that's another reason why titanium rotors are not really offered anymore. But as far as like just playability, yes, the titanium does noticeably reduce the weight of the horn. So I would say that makes them better, but there are other issues that, make that more of a question mark. Oh, Scott Leger. Hi, Scott. Have you already discussed what the MYDC refers to in this model? Yes, I did, but I'll tell you again. M means medium bell, Y means yellow brass, D means detachable bell, and C means cord, or string linkage if you're American. Okay, that is it for the comments I see so far. See if there's anything I'm missing on this horn. I think that's really about it. Yeah, so I think that's it for today's stream. It's gonna be a short one. Let me know how you feel about this format. Usually I do a horn comparison, but I wanted to see how the stream worked out if I focused on just one horn for the time. If you want more comparisons, let me know, and I'll make sure I make the next stream a comparison. But thanks again for watching. I'm really honored that anyone is tuning into, truly honored that anyone is tuning into these things. And if you see me at a show or anything like that, feel free to come up and say hi. I really love hearing from people who enjoy these live streams. Oh, Donald Spalding. Hey, before you, so from Donald Spalding, I have, how did it compare to the Innovation? It's a very, very different beast from the 293 Innovation. The 293 Innovation is a much lighter horn than this. And the sound, I would say, is less complex on the Innovation. The Paxman 20 is going to have better projection. It's going to have a meatier sound. But the Innovation is going to be easier to play, going to have more agility on it. So it's going to be better for playing fast passages. And the sound is great on the Innovation, but it does lack some of the meat of the Paxman. So, if you're comparing those two horns, of course, you have to just decide which one sounds better on you. As I tell customers all the time when they're trying out horns, it's not just the instrument that determines your sound. It's you. How do you use your embouchure? What is your chest cavity like? What is your mouth or your oral cavity like? All of those things contribute to the sound of a horn, and that's why sometimes a customer will come in and they'll play something like a Yamaha and they'll sound terrible on it. And it would be like, next, let's try something else. And the next customer will come in and they play the Yamaha and it just sounds amazing. Like that Yamaha is it was built for them specifically. So there's the comparison there of which one is better for you as a player and which trade-offs do you want to make? Do you want lighter, easier to move through the range? Or do you want that kind of meatier, richer sound? And we have another one from Christina Mariano. Hey, before you go, talk about these new carbon fiber bells. So the carbon fiber bells from Paxman, they'll even admit it's kind of a novelty that they like to bring around to shows. It doesn't really have much practical use in the real world because although the carbon fiber bell works, it doesn't, you couldn't walk into a section and play a horn with a carbon fiber bell and expect to match up with everyone. The carbon fiber bell themselves was made by Wiseman, who are famous for their carbon fiber cases and also based in London. And, Paxman outfitted it with the ring and made sure that it would work with the horn. So does that answer your question? Okay. Well, I've kind of already said my goodbyes, and I don't think there's anything else coming in. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.